Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host and Christopher Curtis in another edition of the peaceful co-creation of human destiny towards paradise planet on Earth with every thing. Now this in the Vedas, one of the key things is at least in this chapter, is knowledge. Which is the 9th chapter in Chiranjiva Bharadwaja. Chiranjiva Bharadwaja. Mission. So, starts on according to Badri, the soul as well as the mind, principle of thought is present in emancipation. In other words, Badri, other words known as Parashar, the father of Vyasa, does not believe in the absorption of the soul into God, nor in its dissolution, nor in that of the principle of thought in the state of emancipation. Similarly, the great teacher Jamini holds that an emancipated soul possesses the principle of thought as well as the spiritual or subtle body, the principles of sensation, and the Neuroric forces. The soul and the principle of thought are not absent during emancipation. Again, the sage Vyasa believes both in presence and absence of these powers. In the state of emancipation, in other words, he holds that the soul exists and retains all its powers that are pure, while unholiness, sinful pain, and ignorance, and the like are absent. That condition of the soul in which it possesses a pure manas, the principle of thought, the 5 principles of sensation, and in which the deliberations of the principle of discernment are true and constant, is called the supreme state of emancipation. Quote, that supreme spirit who is free from sin, decay, and death, pain, sorrow, hunger, and thirst, whose thoughts and desires of the very essence of truth should be sought after. It is by contact with the divine spirit that an emancipated soul attains to all the conditions it wishes for, and realizes all its desires, and it is through the knowledge of the Supreme Soul that it learns the means of salvation and the ways of self-purification. So this emancipated soul sees all through pure spiritual eyes and a pure manas, and thereby enjoys extreme bliss. The soul that rests in the all-glorious Supreme Being, the omnipresent, omniscient Spirit, the inward controller of all, whom all men of whom all men of learning imbued with imbued with piety and desirous of obtaining salvation, worship, and adore. By the practice of yoga, enjoys the beatitude of emancipation. Clearly, it obtains all its heart's desires and whatever worlds and states it wishes to attain to. The emancipated soul leaves off its mortal coil and roams about in the space and the all-pervading God by the help of the spiritual body. As long as the soul is embodied, it can never be free from worldly pains and sorrows. Prajapati said to Indra, "Listen, O thou who art wealthy and worthy of great respect, this physical body is mortal. It is in the jaws of death, very much like a goat under the jaws of a lion. It is the dwelling place of the formless and immoral soul, which is therefore constantly afflicted with pain or engrossed in pleasure, because an embodied soul can never be free from worldly joys or sorrows. On the other hand, the unembodied, emancipated soul that lives in God can neither be affected by joys nor by sorrows, continually enjoys perfect bliss." Capital O, does the soul, once being emancipated, ever become subject to birth and death again? It is said in the Chandogya Upanishad, quote, "The soul, after being emancipated, never comes back again into this world," unquote. Again, it is written in the Vedanta Shastra, quote, "The Veda declares there is no coming back. No coming back declares the Veda," end quote. Gita also says that, quote, "The supreme state from which the soul, never falls back, open parentheses, into this world, close parentheses, is mine," end quote. It is clear from these quotations that that alone is called open parentheses, the state of close parentheses. Emancipation from which the soul never returns into this world. What is your view? Capital A, it is not true that the emancipated soul never returns to this world, because the Veda contradicts this view. Quote, "Whose name should we hold sacred? Who is that all-glorious, resplendent being who is imperishable among all the perishable things, who, having made us enjoy the bliss of emancipation, again invests us with bodies and thereby gives us the pleasure of seeing our parents? It is the all-glorious, eternal, and immortal, all-pervading, supreme being whose name we should hold sacred. He it is who helps us to enjoy the bliss of emancipation and then brings us back into this world, clothes us with bodies, and thereby gives us the pleasure of seeing our parents. The same divine spirit it is who regulates the period of emancipation and lords over all," end quote. Again says the Sankhya Shastra, quote, "Souls live in bondage and emancipation as they are at the present time. There is no everlasting atyanta, open parentheses, close parentheses, bondage or emancipation," end quote. Capital O, but the Nivaya Shastra says, quote, "Atyanta, everlasting freedom from pain alone is called emancipation, because it is only freedom from false ideas, ignorance, vices, such as covetousness, and from engrossment in sensual gratification, and contraction of evil habits, and consequent immunity from birth and pain, that bring about emancipation, which is everlasting," end quote. Capital A, the word atyanta does not necessarily always mean everlasting, because we very often say that such and such a man is in atyanta pain or enjoys atyanta pleasure. Now here atyanta means extreme. What we therefore mean is that the man is in extreme pain or enjoys extreme pleasure. Similarly, the word atyanta in the above quotations means extreme, not everlasting or eternal. What's very key is the summary that is, well, that's the summary of all the Vedic teachings, of the, I'm going to read those from read my brain. It's in the last few pages of this. I'm also going to read further sometime in the future. Oh, I passed it. Okay, a statement of my beliefs. I believe in a religion based on universal and all-embracing principles which have always been accepted as true by mankind and will continue to command the allegiance of mankind in the ages to come. Hence it is that the religion in question is called the primeval. Can't read that. It's italicized. Eternal religion, which means that it is above the hostility of all human creeds whatsoever. Whatever is believed in by those who are steeped in ignorance or who have been led astray by sectaries is not worthy of being accepted by the wise. That faith alone is really true and worthy of acceptance, which is followed by aptas. Those who are true in word, deed, and thought, and promote public good and are impartial and learned. But all that is discarded by such men must be discarded or considered as unworthy of belief and false. My conception of God and all other objects in the universe is founded on the teachings of Veda and other true Shastras, and is in conformity with the beliefs of all the sages from Brahma down to Chinmi. My first statement of these beliefs for the acceptance of all good men, that alone I hold to be acceptable, which is worthy of being believed by all men in all ages. I do not entertain the least idea of founding a new religion or sect. My sole aim is to believe in truth, my sole aim is to believe in truth and help others to believe in it, to reject falsehood and help others to do the same. Had I been biased, I would have championed any one of the religions prevailing in India, but I have not done so. On the contrary, I do not approve of what is objectionable and false in the institutions of this or any other country, nor do I reject what is good and in harmony with the dictates of true religion, nor have I any desire to do so, since a contrary conduct is wholly unworthy of man. He alone is entitled to be called a man who possesses a thoughtful nature and feels for others in the same way as he does for his own self, does not fear the unjust, however powerful, but fears the truly virtuous, however weak. Moreover, he should always exert himself to his utmost to protect righteousness and advance their good, and conduct himself worthily towards them, even though they be extremely poor and weak and destitute of material resources. On the other hand, he should constantly strive to destroy, humble, and oppose the wicked sovereign rulers of the whole earth and men of great influence and power, though they be. In other words, a man should, as far as it lies in his power, constantly endeavor to undermine the power of the unjust and to strengthen that of the just. He may have to bear any amount of terrible suffering. He may have to even quaff the bitter cup of death in the performance of his duty which devolves on him on account of being a man, but he should not shirk it. Unquote. The king. Bhartrihari and other wise men have composed verses on the subject which I subjoin with the hope that they will prove useful. Quote, the worldly wise may praise one or censure him, fortune may smile on him or frown on him, death may overtake him immediately, or he may live for ages, but a wise man does not swerve from the path of justice. End quote. Quote, let a man never renounce dharma, righteousness, either through lust or through fear, or through greed, or even to save his life, since dharma is imperishable, while pleasure of pain is perishable. The soul is immortal, while the body is mortal. Continues on, but I'm going to interject here 721. We'll continue on in a later episode to kind of interject what has already been, because this is a very great way to bring light upon the truth. And one of the important things is besides on the ICC, as I mentioned before, Earth Alliance. I mean, if there are, which there are, I mean, the ability to have spacecraft as our forms of transportation would be an incredibly benefit to all of humanity in forms of transportation that's not only safer, more efficient, and more effective, better in every form. And this ICC has been in existence for decades. Same thing with the Earth Alliance. Just spacecraft in general that have been made. There's tons and tons of spacecrafts from William Tompkins's designs to many, many different types of craft that are otherworldly. For example, from the many different species out in our galaxy, just in the galaxy alone, our neighboring solar systems, our neighboring star systems. Once again, that type of spacecraft and starcraft should really be not necessarily as something that you should spend, for example, money on to get that spacecraft, but as once again as a grander way to once again experience life without the danger, which can easily have solutions for. And the same type of parallel exists with transportation, also exists with healing, from sonic healing to holographic healing to crystal healing to light healing to legitimate, pure, full bodiness, as the Agarthans have already demonstrated in their perfect bodies, perfecting perfect health. That is the type of purity that is, because I'll even read an excerpt. So, the book was written by Diane Robbins, called Messages from Hollywood. Just going off the top of my head, strictly describes their health and longevity. Of course, is for hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years. Quite a few of them are living thousands of years. Like Micah, Adama, and Miko's, and many others, and many of the Ascended Masters as well. just that understanding. Their understanding of culture and the science is what is very key in this transition, which is what I provide with the light of truth, which is allowed to know knowledge and to be ultimately all knowledgeable, especially when it comes to more beneficial and obviously more effective and obviously just greater, ultimately inventions, innovations, and actual things that actually exist. Actual and obviously objects that already exist in creation. So therefore it doesn't even need stating that it's ultimately ignorance to state that the only type of transportation that exists is, well, I already mentioned this before, but the only type of transportation that exists and the only type of medical care that exists is that which we currently have of pharmaceuticals, for example, or surgery, or ointments, or topicals to ingestibles to, I mean, there's much better. And actually, that's going back to the exciting thing of the ambassador who's coming to, the ambassador of Gartha are coming to Garden City, New York in August. That is very major, and the clarity that's provided with quantum medicine, quantum healing medicine. Pretty sure that's what it's called. Not the correct name, not the correct name. But quantum healing medicine is just one, I guess, visual or clarity bringing insight as to how healing can be done in our lifetime on planet Earth. And of course, it's not just limited to this planet, but here is here it is. The Agartha to Humanity World Symposium is August 25th, 26th, and 27th, 2017. The ambassador is ambassador and master teacher is Tamarinda Mason, and it's a disclosure to raise human consciousness on inner earth and cosmic cultures, humanity's true history, ancient spiritual teachings, healing technology methods, Antarctica revealed, stargates, time travel, and much more. This symposium is huge. And this it's an amazing fact, which kind of makes me smile because it's kind of so mind-boggling. We can quote, we cannot take credit for our record advancement in certain scientific fields alone, comma, we had help from other worlds, end quote. Herman Oberth is one of the founding of rocketry and astronomics. And yes, there are many civilizations that are key. The Nordics, very key in the 40s and the 50s, involved with spacecraft early on. There's I believe it's pronounced the Adamites, which landed in Antarctica. Who else? Venusians used to come to and from this planet all the time. The planet Venus. It is very, very amazing how far we've come. And I was it's fantastic that this type of actually the fact of the matter is that this type of craft, this type of technology is coming out of the mainstream incredibly. Actually, it's out right now, just coming out incredibly quickly on a mass scale, which is incredibly good because it's peaceful, it's beneficial, and combined with this incredible truth of acknowledging, enlightening with truth and shunning vice and ignorance is only revealing the very essence of what is the greatest, and ultimately the most truthful and true knowledge of existence, because it is a supreme being, it's supreme teaching, learning, an acceleration of life ultimately itself, with justice and balance and righteousness and justice and virtue, and it is the absolute incredible balance of the incredible, once again, co-creation of positive co-creation of the human destiny, which is pretty much just it's just a sliver, once again, of what's supposed to, and I just touched on, of course, I combined the Vedic knowledge with some of the Vedic knowledge with the fact of the higher advancement that exists with both those medicine, health, and transportation. It also exists with on a planetary basis. So this is what's really, really, really key and really wonderful, and a very true fact is the beings, or one of the advanced beings that live in our solar system, in our galaxy. But let me briefly go back to or explain the biospheres, which I probably explained before. I know I have actually explained before, and actually, this is being created right now as we speak. But a biosphere, or this one in particular, is well. There's 12 total Andromeda council biospheres, and they each have their purpose. And so the purpose is, the Andromeda Council primary biosphere is very much like an intergalactic and interstellar UN government center. The council itself formally beats 4 times per week. Also, Andromeda Council's subconvening and advisory boards are held here every day. Each work week, council is made up of 12 senior members. Patola, Nicolo, Te, Legala, Caina, Procula, Persia, Ventra, Tolica, Vito. From the star system, Tau Ceti Theta. I've said this before. I'm not going to repeat it. Very, 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 very grand. Very potentially wonderful. Obviously, they're wonderful. Obviously, spectacular. And it consists of every single solution that exists. Every single solution. Like, every single problem possible. We can't even comprehend exactly how, which is why it's so key to do this teaching learning process, because once again, our capacity for true knowledge and basically the simplicity that of learning ideas and how ideas allow us to develop our intellect, therefore our intelligence, allows us to quantify and therefore be that, which is what I just described with learning true knowledge, studying the Vedas, and really enlightening all of humanity. It can be done because it's being done, and it's very key because, once again, of course, it's justice, it's righteousness, and it's of the highest good, of the highest good, the most supreme and prevailing. So the balanced rays just work. Example, there's so many positive forces that exist with, for example, just the water solution alone for not just the removal, which has already been reiterated, so I'm not even going to talk about that, but the use of protein, which I've already talked about, and the use of bioluminescence, the process to create bioluminescent human beings, which we are just naturally. Bioluminescence, we have, electricity. A lot about human body system, nervous system. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but once again, it's incredibly accelerated positive fruition. And of course, the great thing is that we're able to bear the fruits. Strong roots as well. Transportation, medicine, fruition of this building. And this is already here because this density. As a supreme being, I've already created it with the eighth and type 9th civilization that I've constructed Tao. And this marks, in a sense, this marks the 10th, this marks the type 10th civilization, which is not just a combination of the crystal shape of the 8th civilization, the 9th type civilization that I described. Actually, I described this in a previous other edition of another podcast that I did. Where, this type 10 civilization is embodied with such a massive amount of energy that the 8th and 9th civilization are, in a sense, celestial bodies of course, in the ultimate super presence that is the 8th and 9th, which is from the 6th, or from the 7th, which is enough power to support many 6th, which is, of course, more than enough to support the type 5 civilization. What this type 10 civilization is a massive ability to embody at an incredible rate. And embody meaning that is giving power and molding this super civilizational elliptic level of 9th civilization, of type 9 civilization plus type 10 civilization. And because of the acceleration of that, which is needed to ultimately even make possible the thought form, let's call it that, of the type 10s, type 10 civilization is therefore the manifestation of that, which is the type 11. Type 10 civilization. I've already described type 8 as one present, and then type 9, and therefore that co-creation abundance right there in between those, and that it's like a fraction of that super energetic body, let's call it a superluminary extra bio-creative sphere. Spheration. So SELBCSFAATION. All that condensed. This is the ideas of amazing intellect. And type 10 civilization is. So you have two in this example, which is just a very small sliver of the capability of our creation capacity. Two CLB CSFAATION. Which is now the function of. So you have a wave and form and a set and a foundation. So the wave of course has waves of creation. So that means to break it down in the words I mentioned, it means waves of galaxies, waves of rings of galaxies, rings of celestial bodies, waves of that. Spirals can be made as well to help funnel that type of creation. Also bubbles of light, energy and the offset pools. Sense of the type of ability to make, not just make, but concentrate it's like a way to concentrate all the type 8, type 9 civilization. And a superfield. So this reveal could be just as description before. Let's go into the actual numbers here, just to help. And to help grasp exactly, for example, the types of these that can be used. Kardashev skin. Type three civilization. Let's describe it. Describe a type 4 civilization. Okay, let's build it up, sister. Well, not build it up. We already have it. We already exist in the type. Already built type 7. So, just to give a grasp of the Type 1, 10 to the 16th watts. Type 2, 10 to 26. Type 3, 10 to 36. 4, 5, 6, 7, type 8. Type 9. It's 10 to the 96th watts. Type 9. Now type 10. So type is 10 to the 106th watts. That is the energy consumption. And that's what helps is this once again idea of what I'll call idea of intellectual crystallization. Type 3 civilization might use same techniques employed by Type 2 civilization, but applied to all possible stars of one or more galaxies individually. They may also be able to tap into the energy released from the supermassive black holes, which are believed to exist at the center of most galaxies. White holes, if they exist, theoretically provide large amounts of energy from collecting the matter propelling outwards. Bullet point, capturing the energy of gamma ray bursts is another theoretically possible power source for a highly advanced civilization. And the emissions from quasars can be readily compared to those of small active galaxies and can provide a massive power source if collectible. Now, Type 4 beings, Type 4 prediction rating is Type 4 beings you can control or use the entire universe, or a collection of universes. Control the entire universe is Type 4. Control a collection of universes is Type 5. Power output of visible universes is within the magnitude of 10 to the 45 watts. Such civilization approaches and passes the limits of speculation based upon current scientific understanding. Believe it or not, I'm pretty sure today I just made history by basically I basically debunked Zoltan's Galatane's argument, which is he argued that such a civilization cannot be detected, as his activities would be indistinguishable from the workings of nature, thereby nothing to compare them to. What? That's absolutely incredible. But I'm moving on. So, in his book Parallel Worlds, Michio Kaku has discussed the type 4 civilization that can harness extragalactic energy sources such as dark energy. Kardashev alternate rating characteristics. Other proposed changes to this scale use different metrics such as mastery of systems, amount of information used, or progress in control of the very small, as opposed to the very large. Planet mastery. Robert Zubrin. Metrics other than pure power usage have also been proposed. One is mastery of the planet, system, of the galaxy, rather than considering energy alone. Information mastery. Carl Sagan suggests adding another dimension in addition to pure energy usage, the information available to the civilization. He assigned the letter A to represent 10 to the 6 unique bits of information, less than open parentheses, less than any recorded human culture, close parentheses, and each successive letter to represent an order of magnitude increase, so that a level Z civilization would have 10 to 31 bits in its classification. 1973, Earth has Actually, I'm gonna do this. All information and energy axes are not strictly independent, so that even a level Z civilization would not need to be type 3. So, type 5 minus is able to manipulating the atomic nucleus and engineering the nucleons that compose it. There's a lot more that goes into that. I've kind of already reiterated that both in previous broadcasts and in today's broadcast. Type 5 or type 6 minus is capable of manipulating the most elementary particles of matter to create organized complexity among populations of elementary particles culminating in type omega minus is capable of manipulating the basic structure of space-time. The type 10 civilization obviously is enough output of energy for 10 to the 106th watts. The methods of that civilization compared to 5, which is already able to have enough energy to create universes. Now you have, of course, that output of something that's not only able to create universes, but that exactly crystallization of any intelligence, which is why the mind is the mind and consciousness is consciousness, if that makes sense. The very thought now is the ability to pull or push or and this is just one facet of it. The thought form creates universes with the thoughts. So it's type 10 can create universes of multiple building block models. That is dihedronical that we're describing to a string. It is absolutely